Congressman calls a former co-worker a racial slur because that's what we're doing with the lapel pin and the American flag behind. So what's going on here? Well, I'll tell you. New Mexico Representative Gabe Vasquez, House Democrat, is under scrutiny after past police reports revealed he used a racial slur in a call to a former employer's call center, received marijuana citations, and was involved in domestic disputes with an ex-girlfriend.
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show.
These incidents occurred when Vasquez was a college student, 2004. Free Beacon, a conservative outlet, obtained the reports, which had Vasquez's name redacted, but a custodian confirmed he was the caller. Clean up nice. He made the racially charged call to a human resources employee at a Las Cruces call center. The report alleges that during the call, Vasquez asked to speak with an individual named Chris. When asked for clarification, Vasquez used a racial slur, Chris, the N. Okay. See, I was thinking, and I don't know why, I think I'm a very generous person, but I was thinking college, who were you in college? But this is not frat talk. This is racist talk. You understand? And that might say a lot about you. Chris the N, Vasquez told the employee. The employee subsequently left a message for Vasquez stating her intention to report the incident to police. Atlanta Black Star filling in the details once again. Vasquez, who faced attacks from his GOP opponent, Yvette Harrell, over the report, denied the allegations in a statement to the Daily Mail. Quote, I have not and would never use language like this. See, that's how I know. I mean, right there, you didn't. We know now you did. Okay. It's this host's opinion. This attack is categorically false. He accused Republicans of lying about his character. Harrell called the comments on X absolutely disgusting conduct and urged accountability in November. As reported by the Free Beacon, the employee who requested anonymity to discuss the incident confirmed the employment of the human resources staffer who filed the 2004 police report. The employee said the staffer spent a couple years at research data design. In the police report, the human resources staffer said Vasquez had been calling and harassing employees after he was terminated for cause for falsifying data, July 20th, 2004. So again, I can't give you the one-off college because now there's a series of things that kind of determine who you are inside, perhaps. Seems so. Can't go with that's just college. 9 days later, he called Research Data Design and she answered the phone. She stated that the person asked, is Chris there? She said, who? Which Chris? As apparently there are a number of Chris's there. And he said, Chris the N. And she hung up. She stated that shortly thereafter, another telephone call was received by another employee who was asked for Chris. And he said, Chris who? And the reply was, well, he changed it up this time, Chris the black man. That's according to the police report. He stated that the person who he recognized as Vasquez then began laughing and hung up. They immediately did a reverse search on the telephone and the telephone number came up as Vasquez. And when they researched it, it came up to Vasquez, who they know as the former employee that was in fact fired. He was terminated. He must not have found a new job yet. He had a lot of time. He kept calling the old employer and being racist. According to the report, the human resources employee called Vasquez back and told him on the answer machine that they were, in fact, going to report it to the police department. They have not had any calls since. Meanwhile, Vasquez noted that the accusation surfaced shortly after a video of Harrell advocating for a total abortion ban in New Mexico. What aboutism? I'm not happy with that either, but we were talking about you making racist calls, Mr. Vasquez. Total abortion ban in New Mexico, even in cases of sexual violation and incest, was made public, according to the Daily Mail. Vasquez's college years at New Mexico State University from 2002 to 2008 were not without controversy. Do you see? Yeah, you see? He received 2 criminal citations in 2005 for possession of marijuana and paraphernalia. On occasion, police responded to a noise complaint at Vasquez's residence and observed him preparing marijuana. What does that mean? He was rolling a blunt. Okay, white papers. I don't know. I never got into it, but there's a difference, I guess. I don't know. And I'm not going to be disrespectful and ask you to explain it to me, Mayor, because you probably don't know either. But there's white papers, and then I think there's, take the stuff out of the cigars, and then they do that. And I don't know if one's more hardcore than the other, but I was curious as I read that. I'll get back to business here. On one occasion, police responded to a noise complaint, as we said. He's prepping the weed. Another incident, bike patrol officers found Vasquez and his underage friends in a car, appearing drunk, smelling of marijuana. National Republican Congressional Committee spokeswoman Delaney Bomar said in a written statement, "This is unacceptable behavior from a member of Congress. Gabe Vasquez clearly has a problem with authority, and this pattern of behavior shows he is unfit to serve. Do Hakeem Jeffries and Vasquez's House colleagues agree?" Now I need to pause right there, Mayor. I have to pause because this is a National Republican Congressional Committee spokesperson. And if I read that again and I did not identify Vasquez and just left that part blank, you fill in the gap. Is she for real, Mayor?
She's
Really?
absolutely, yeah. I mean, like, she's not real because, well, you're national spokesman for the Republican Party. So let's get serious. 2 things can be true at once, right? The video about the person he's running against and the total abortion ban is absolutely real. We know that. But we also know that he behaved in a way that was absolutely racist, and there should be accountability for that. If the Democratic Party, the best candidate you got is a racist, then you too have a problem in this situation. So the Republicans can't hold water here because, well, your nominee is Donald Trump. Secondly, Marjorie Taylor Greene is in the House. Also, Matt Gaetz with his young girl problem. So we're not even going to go there. What we do know, though, is we should not be sitting silent when people are calling Black people
Agreed.
the N-word, especially at work, because you got terminated for lying about data. So when you say, just like you said, Sharon, when you say, "Oh, I've never and would never use that language," you're never, once again, you're falsifying data.
You did it. And you see, what the mayor just broke down there quite easily, he had no notes. I didn't see him look down. He wasn't reading the teleprompter. It was a very easy statement, other than the one the Republican spokeswoman had. AI must have written that because this is not credible. Okay, AI is not perfected yet. And you gotta sometimes speak from the heart and speak honestly. Let's give you Vasquez's response. The at NRCC and Yvette for Congress are attacking me over a traffic ticket when I was a kid. It's been resolved. Say what? Arrested? No. Try harder. You were going to be. Frankly, you stop. I'm going to keep fighting for hashtag NMO2 and deliver federal funds to law enforcement that Yvette never delivered. Okay. The Donald Trump way of responding to things, which is chaos and disinformation and pulling out stuff out of nowhere, it has spread. There is a pandemic on that. It's clear. Okay. You see we'll put it up for you, his tweet, X, whatever. And we'll tell you more. Per the Free Beacon, in 2007, police report detailing a domestic dispute. Vasquez advised his girlfriend, who had just turned 21, not to drink so much because she just turned 21 and she gets kind of wild when she drinks. The report further notes that Vasquez noticed that she kept drinking, and after having a few too many, she began getting a little wild and dancing around in front of his friends. After confronting her, an argument broke out, leading to a police visit to his home in reference to a possible domestic crime. I believe he's the one who's furnishing the stuff in that police report too. I don't know if she gets wild. Maybe you got out of pocket and maybe it got physical, but that's what narcissists. And I'm not saying, I don't have a degree. I'm not saying he's a narcissist, but I'm saying that there's some things that triggered me and popped out in that police report, Mayor. But nonetheless, trouble does seem to follow him. And I'm not making any judgment about that because, things can happen. But can you kind of break this down, including that tweet on X that he put out about a traffic ticket and I was never arrested? Son, please.
This is textbook politic anti-blackness. This is a page in 2024 out of Richard Nixon's Southern strategy.
Mm.
And I guess we could just call it the Midwest strategy or the Western strategy, because what I just witnessed was you said you got stopped for a traffic ticket. They're attacking you because you were racist. And that was not a traffic ticket. You were providing alcohol because you were legal to minors, and you should have been arrested. So bragging that you didn't get arrested for something that is absolutely disgusting, like endangering a minor because they said young people in the car, underage people, were drunk, and you were also providing drugs, is absolutely disgusting behavior. So the way that you blow that off is if you just talk about nothing, and then you just throw in my support for the police, which is random to me. Like, it's random, has nothing to do with the situation. Nothing about I'm a card carrying member of the NAACP, which would have been a kind of a decent political pivot. But this instead, you said I'm going to go for the people that are maybe reading this or in my district that are anti-black. I'm going to remind them that I support the cops. Back the blue. And that was absolutely dastardly, if you understand dog whistles.
And Mayor, there's certain of us at times who tend to think, oh, well, Vasquez, Hispanic, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But there's so many layers and there's so many complicating things, beginning with how America was founded, our systemically racist roots. You have to see people as they present. And I think Mr. Vasquez has presented as someone who has some issues. And some of those are rooted in color. Because if you want to prank your old employer, which I would not advise, I mean, some employers deserve it, but you just can't go down that route. You didn't have to call up and ask for Chris at the end. You could have did a whole lot of stuff. My sisters and I would prank my father growing up. I'm not proud of it, but we were kids. And he'd say, hello. And we'd say, hi, is your refrigerator running? And he'd say, oh, yes, I think it is. And we'd say, you better go catch it. I mean, he could have done something as simple as that, Mayor. That's not what he did. I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I think this is another exercise in how comfortable America is with the suffering of Black people, the long suffering of Black people, and it is important. And I know neither you and I are Latinx or of the member of the Hispanic community, but we have to talk about the colorism that exists in that community when we see so many Afro-Latinos even that are coming on the census documents. You see them counting themselves as white, even though they are Afro-Latino and look like me. So that is a real thing. We also know what goes on in those communities, just like in America. And we would be remiss and also doing a disservice if we didn't mention that.
Yeah. I cut my teeth as a reporter in Miami, and there's people don't seem to understand that, the Cubans don't all look one way, okay? Black, white. If you study the history of the island and understand what went down and why, you might have a better understanding of how people think when they arrive here, even.